Good morning, everyone, afternoon rather, and happy Friday. I have double and triple checked that I am going live on the GCNKAA website today or Facebook page instead of my own. Last week, I had a little technical difficulty for the first time and all this time. So apologies to my guest last week, but I'm really excited to be back. And I'm also on location. I am down at Current at the Banks apartments today. And so I found a beautiful apartment for the backdrop, and I am joined by a new friend of mine, Miss Becky Hart, who is a regional sales executive with Ballet Living. Good afternoon, Becky.
Hey, MJ, it's nice to formally meet you.
I know, it's so great to meet you. Thank you so much. We've had a nice little email exchange back and forth for a while in preparation for this. So I've been very excited to get to know you a little bit today. Before we get started though with your interview, I just wanted to take a moment and let everyone know that next Tuesday, October 20th, is the GMM at 1 p.m. It is a virtual GMM and it's free to attend. And what's exciting about this event, it is going to be our annual elections for the Associate Council and the Board of Directors. So you don't want to miss this event. Just give Michelle a call or shoot her an email and she'll get you registered to attend our next GMM. So that's going to be really exciting. And wanted to wish all of my friends and colleagues on the Board of Directors as well as the Associate Council good luck next week with the elections. All right, Becky, are you ready to dive in this Friday afternoon?
More than ready. I'm ready.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully a lot of people are having lunch and found this video go live today, and they can sit and enjoy lunch while we get to know you a little bit. I do recognize Valet Living, and I know that service, but I'd love to just start by asking you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do with Ballet Living.
Well, thanks so much. I have been with Ballet Living a little bit over a year. It's my first, traditional role with multifamily. I spent the bulk of my career with senior living, which runs extremely parallel.
Yeah.
And I cover sales for Ballet Living for all of Ohio and half of Kentucky. So what drew me to Ballet Living was the innovation and the culture of the company. And we're, a little bit more than just doorstep ballet trash, which is what most people know us for.
Right.
But we want to be more than that. We want to be your amenity service provider, where we've launched recently our Connect app so that residents can see in real time when their service valet arrives on site. They'll also be able to have a comeback feature. So when the service valet is wrapping up, they'll get a last call. And if they were running late for work or just busy dinner with the kids and completely forgot to put their containers out, they're able to push that button and the service valets come right back to your door and take them up. And then they also get a feature that says, thank you for using us for service, and just, hey, a little reminder, bring your containers back inside.
I like that. That's a really great feature though. I know just being a homeowner, there have been plenty of times I have forgotten or meant to get up early instead of doing it the night before, and that little text message would go a long way.
Well, and it's not, I think, different than if you're home and you hear the hauler come, you can run out and get it. When you hear a service valet, they're so quick. It's amazing how fast they are. That by the time you get to your door, they've already gone past. So this is going to eliminate almost every single missed trash call. It also connects your residents to a multitude of different virtual events. So either fitness, wellness classes, cooking classes, knife skills, but they even have things for kids like children's story time, kids yoga, and all of that. So that's part of that Connect feature. It's becoming more of just, being a better partner to our clients.
That's exciting. Well, I look forward to seeing that. How long have you been with Ballet Living, Becky?
Just past a year, this past September. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. I think, what a year to start in a new role, huh?
Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, who would have thought that we would be living through this pandemic when I started? I certainly did not. So it was one wonderful thing. It was very refreshing from our top down. We always felt supported. Our CEO, the first thing he ever asked any of us was, how are you? How's your family? Just kind of solidified the reason why I chose Ballet Living to kind of dive into my new career.
You know what? That's a very interesting perspective. And I share in that. I've got a lot of loyalty to my company. But seeing how our leaders reacted to this pandemic really kind of set, I think, a lot of people, on a different path or the right path, understanding what's important when going gets tough, for sure.
Absolutely.
So how long have you been in the industry, whether it's your industry or affiliated with the apartment industry?
So I came from senior living. So I spent the bulk of my career there. I started off as an activity director doing skilled nursing facilities as well as assisted living. I kind of fell into that role a little bit. And once I did, I fell in love with seniors. It became a passion of mine. It still is. I'm still very involved with some of their associations, particularly Alzheimer's Association. And then through my activity and volunteer service coordination, I kind of was like, I want something different. So I dipped my toe in the sales and marketing world as a backup sales member. And then for 7 years, spent a wonderful 7 years with an assisted living just outside of Columbus doing their marketing. Yep.
Okay, wonderful. What's one of your more memorable stories from your career?
Well, there's so many. And working with seniors, it's so funny. I had always wanted to work with kids. And when I felt with seniors, it's kind of in some ways similar. They just maybe not run as quickly, although sometimes they can.
Maybe more often, right?
And it's a very delicate situation. You're working with seniors, oftentimes with memory impairments, and you're helping to improve their quality of life. But one of the first tours I did as a backup salesperson, I was touring a family and taking them to the elevator to go to the next floor, and the elevator opened and a resident was standing there fully nude.
Oh my.
It was, everybody kind of took it with a grain of salt, but I learned very quickly to take humor in the situation, but also, showing that compassion for that resident. I mean, at that moment, my priority wasn't the tour, it was helping this resident.
Right.
And just, and I ended up winning that deal. And a lot of it had to do with they want to know how their loved ones are going to be treated in those situations.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really nice. And I think there are probably a lot of parallels between that line and the apartment industry because you live with your customers. So that's a very similar, I think, customer service approach. It's way different when you live with your customers.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah. Well, what kind of advice would you offer up to folks in this business?
I think being new to the multifamily, everybody is so warm and so genuine and so invested in your success from Ballet Living to anybody in the industry. Everybody is so willing to just have a conversation to help and kind of guide you through. It's just really investing time to speak with your peers, learn what trends are coming, and invest in a lot of the technology that's coming out since it's moving so quickly.
Right.
And never be afraid to ask someone for advice. That's the biggest advice I could give is, and in this industry, what I've found through the association is people are so kind and they are very genuine. And that has, again, solidified where I want to be. And I'm super excited to grow and get to know more folks.
Well, if you think we're kind now in the midst of a pandemic, wait until you can get out to more of the events that are in person. Hopefully 2021 will be a much different year and we'll be able to have conversations like this in person again and meet people. We've had a couple of events in person. We did the golf outing and then there was a cocktail hour for the apartment association outreach. And it was just so good to see people. And I had a guest that I had brought with who really hadn't met people. She works for Village Green in another market. And when we left, she said exactly the same thing. Everyone is so nice here. Like everyone is so kind. And if you've been to apartment association events, there are always, a lot of people and a lot of people that know one another. So if you're an outsider to have that perspective that we're kind, I think that's the best compliment we could get.
It's almost like they see, oh my God, you're new. Who are you? And they want to know. And it's just welcoming. It's just a wonderful, especially our organization here. It's stellar. I mean, it's been great.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. We're really glad that you're here and that we have an initiative like this to sit down and get to know folks like you who are new in the association on a deeper level. Before we get into your personal interview, which I'm really excited about, is there anything else you want to share about Valet Living or about what you do, Becky?
Oh, well, yeah, again, I just wanted to, with Ballet Living, everybody kind of is very familiar. We were the pioneers of the doorstep trash collection for multifamily. But for us, we didn't want to just stop there. And I think what sets us apart from similar models is that innovation, is finding unique ways that make us better partners to our clients. So our clients have more time on their plate that we can help give their residents an exceptional experience. Hence with the launch of Connect, offering that service where it's that partnership piece and it takes some stuff off the on-site team. We know how many plates they're juggling on a daily basis, that if this is one thing that we can take off of theirs, we love it. So.
Well, wonderful. Well, as a operator, I can say having partners like Ballet Living and so many of our service partners, it's so helpful when we can kind of let go of some of the things that other people have become experts, other fields where they're expert service providers. So we appreciate you very much. And I look forward to learning a little bit more about that new Connect program, because that's a brand new concept for me.
It's pretty amazing. Wish I had that for my home.
I know, right?
Back into multifamily and into apartment. It really
Seriously, I'm going to call my HOA. All right, well, let's shift gears a little bit. I'd love to ask you, just share a little bit about your family.
Sure. I'm in a blended family. My husband and I have been together almost 6 years, been married for 1.5 years.
Congrats.
He's pretty great. I have a bonus son, Connor. He was 14 in December and in 8th grade. And then my son Brandon will be 9 here in November, and he's in 3rd. And my daughter Elena, it just turned 7 and in 1st grade. So we call them the ABCs.
There you go. I like that. I have a 9-year-old little boy who's in 3rd grade too. We'll have to swap some stories and see if they're got any similar.
I don't know about you, this 3rd grade math at home has been pretty rough for me. I
can relate, and I've never been quite as thrilled with his current age as I am right now, because I'm like, if he would be even another year or 2 ahead, I already have help. I have my niece helps with his school, but it's for sure different than the 3rd grade math that I remember learning.
Very much so. He knows more than I do, that's for sure.
Right. And are you in Columbus? Are you from Columbus?
I am. So I'm based in Columbus, so just not too far from Cincinnati.
Got it. Yeah. We have quite a few properties in that area. So I thought that's where Valet was. Is that the headquarters, or you just have a regional?
So we do have an office here. Our headquarters we have 2, one in Tampa and one in Denver. A really good thing about Ballet Living is, even though we have a nationwide presence and that national support, they really love to invest in local. So they encourage all of us to utilize local vendors whenever we can.
Oh yeah.
And we have got, here in Ohio, we have over 100 service valets, and we have 4 managers. Yep.
Wow, that's exciting. Well, what do you and your family like to do in your spare time? What kind of hobbies?
So my husband grew up outside of Columbus, just north in Knox County, and it's near Apple Valley Lake. So we decided to purchase a few years back a little cabin. Nice. So we love, we're not on the lake, but we're pretty close. So in the summer, we love to just be on the water as much as possible. And even this weekend, we're going to be fixing to carve pumpkins, and I always like to get the kids to rake leaves just to trick them into jumping into them. So that's probably our sanctuary. It's where we love to just be around nature and peaceful.
Oh yeah.
It's been really a wonderful investment and just really relaxing. So.
Yeah, just to get away and disconnect a little bit from the real world. How often do you make it to the cabin?
During the pandemic, we were there the whole time.
Oh, I bet. Wow.
No, it was nice because depending on what was going on, and my mother-in-law lives up there too by herself, so she was able to kind of help support with the kids. But
nice.
It's about an hour north of Columbus, so it's not too far, but not but it's nice being back in the city too.
It is. I've certainly just getting up and getting dressed and having somewhere to be. I was so excited to be in an apartment today to do this video.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I can't wait to get back. We're slowly getting back out a little bit,
right?
With obviously some some safety parameters, but it's
right.
It's super invigorating to get to go see people in the office.
I know, it really is.
Get some pep in my step.
I definitely think most of us will not take that for granted anymore. And
nope.
Connection really, the lack thereof really, I think, had an impact on so many of us. So, well, I'm really excited about this question because we share an answer here. One of the questions that I always like to ask folks is, if you're a reader, what's one of the most interesting books you've read recently? And you said,
Where the Crawdads Sing.
Yes, which I read that too. And I've talked to a few people on the Spotlight who have loved it. What did you love about that book?
You know, I love the different timelines in the story. It's one of the things that my mom and my sister all share books together. Mm-hmm. So it was one we all read and we were able to kind of share with each other. I'm super excited because I think there is a movie coming out at some point.
Yes, there's a movie coming out, which I was so glad that I read the book and then found out there was a movie coming out, because I like to do that. I like to read the book before seeing it. Yeah, it was such a beautiful book. And I was just talking about it a week or so ago. I mean, I read it last summer, and the fact that it's still like such a great book and people are still just reading it for the first time and excited about it. I can't wait for the movie. So, and then another newer question is about podcasts, and we share this like as well. I said, what's one of your favorite podcasts?
So I'm obsessed with true crime. And the two go-tos for me are My Favorite Murder and Crime Junkie.
Yes.
So it's one of those things with being on the road a lot, and not maybe as much anymore, but it's something different to listen to. Obviously I love music too, but I always have to listen to something lighthearted after, because I found that if I listened to it too much, it would affect my dreams and everything like that. And the world became a very depressing place. And
yes.
Yeah, but I'm totally into it.
I share in that fascination. I hadn't listened to Crime Junkies in a little while, but there was a Netflix documentary that just came out about the Chris Watts man who murdered his family.
Saw that.
Well, I haven't watched that yet, but I've definitely got to. Crime Junkies had done a podcast like 2 years ago, right after it happened. And I realized that I never watched that one. So I just went back this past week and listened to that from like, I don't know, it was late 18 or early 19. And I was like, dang, I like these. I need to go back and catch up a little bit, because I just haven't quite, I got really like into that one. And then I started discovering some other podcasts. And like you said, if that's all you listen to, it gets a little heavy.
Yeah, then I have to turn on some Real Housewives or something like that. Where I
was going to ask you, what's your favorite city of Housewives? Because you said that was one of your favorite TV shows.
So obviously the classic, The OC, which just came back again, because obviously that was the original. I do like New York a lot. And I also got really into Vanderpump for a while there too. But I gotta say the OC is always
I've never really watched it, but I went to high school with a girl who is on the OC, Emily.
Oh gosh.
I think is her married name. Simpson might have been her maiden. No, Simpson is her married name, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she was a year older than me, and her sister Sarah was a year younger than me. And I follow her on social media, but I've never watched the show. And she's a beautiful girl and very inspirational. And I'm like, I love her on social media. I need to watch the show and kind of see a little bit more about her life now, because we like grew up in the country.
Oh yeah.
Contrast of what I knew her to be, and then being a, cast.
I like her. She's very down to earth.
Yes.
Compared to, yeah.
She was posting a lot of stuff yesterday because I guess it was the premiere, the season premiere. So that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I feel like I watched the Atlanta one because I was working in Atlanta for a while. And so I caught episodes here and there, and I just never really got into it. But I think I need to revisit at least the OC one.
It's just a nice, mindless binge watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm all for those things.
Makes you feel really good about your life.
Right. I was just talking to a friend about how I love learning about people's stories and their lives, because it makes me feel less like a train wreck from day to day. So
we're all in this together. It is a fact.
Right. Exactly. Well, speaking of TV and movies, one of my other very favorite questions is if you could be any TV or movie character, who would you be and why?
Wonder Woman. Obviously.
Why not?
Myself and my daughter, so even though we're a Marvel comic family and she's not a Marvel,
she's DC. Yeah.
But she's been, I've been a Wonder Woman fan since watching, Wonder Woman in the 80s. So
yep.
Love it.
Good. Did you like the new, the Gal Gadot movie?
I do. She's awesome. I was a little disappointed she didn't have a big role in the one with everybody in it, but that's all right.
Fine. Well, I like that answer. Well, what's one of your favorite foods to enjoy, Becky?
So there's so many. That was a hard question, by the way, because there's so many. But for me, a really great slice of pizza. I grew up in Central New York, and the pizza, there's nothing like it. So getting a really great slice of pizza and a nice cold beer. There
you go.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. That is up there on my list. And actually, reading your answer, I was refreshing myself this morning. I was like, pizza sounds good. I should maybe have some pizza this weekend.
Pizza's probably on the menu for dinner tonight.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any pets at home with the family?
I do. We have a rescue. His name is Morty. He is a little lover, but also can be a little cantankerous at times.
Yeah. What kind of puppy?
He is a mix. So he's a short terrier mix of some sort. I think he actually might be part miniature greyhound. I've always wanted to do one of those pet DNA tests.
Oh, yeah.
To really find out.
Right.
But him and his siblings were found on the side of the road in a basket, and they were called the fruit basket at that point. But
wow.
we were looking to adopt, we were looking to rescue an older dog, and then found Morty and fell in love. So.
Yeah. I've heard that when you just make a connection with a rescue dog, no matter what you're looking for, everything else just kind of melts away when you go and you just make that connection. Oh, well, that's cool. Do the kids keep him active?
They do. He's almost, when we got him, we always called him the old man dog because he loves to get up and he loves to sleep. So, but then when he does get all fired up, the kids are really good with getting him outside and him around and throw the ball and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fine. What about music? What's one of the best concerts that you've been to?
So I am, grew up in the 90s. So Pearl Jam's my favorite. So I've been a fan club member since the 90s.
Heck yes.
They're an amazing concert. We actually had a couple tickets for their tour that obviously got postponed because of the pandemic. But, they're always my go-to. If I need to just get a really awesome mindset, I just up and throw some Pearl Jam on.
Yeah, can't beat Pearl Jam. I am also a child of the late 80s, early 90s. And when Pearl Jam came, it was right about that preteen era. And I'm like, oh, Eddie Vedder.
I had posters all over my wall.
Yes.
I probably stole it if my husband would let me.
Right. So what about a vacation? I know you mentioned your cabin. It sounds like that's your place to escape.
That is, when we're able to travel, where I grew up, in Central New York, I love to go. My mom still lives there most of the year. So I love to go there and spend time in the Adirondacks and as much outdoor time as I can especially when the weather's nice. So
I kind of feel guilty asking people about vacations right now because everyone's like, oh, grieving concerts and vacation. It's really hard to think about those things, and you can't even really plan much right now.
Yeah, my kids, I keep putting off Disney, and I said, well, we can't go now, right now.
I know. Well, and who knows when normal travel will be back, but hopefully 2021, and I have a feeling when it comes back, people are going to go really hard at vacations. And
I will be right there with them. So
absolutely. I agree. Well, this is another one of my really favorite questions. I always love to see what people say. If you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
Well, I said I wanted to be a well-fed, loved lap cat. I always think cats, especially the ones that are just super, super long-haired, fuzzy, like a big Maine Coon cat, and just be loved and well fed.
Yep. And kind of living life on your own terms. That's what I like.
Absolutely.
Yep. Like, come at me when I want you to, leave me alone when I want you to. And
sounds like a dream.
Well, are there any other random fun facts or anything exciting that we wouldn't get to know about you, Becky, unless having the opportunity to sit down like this?
I mean, not really. I guess I wanted to always be an astronaut. That's one thing,
Yeah. What sparked that? Did you watch
it? I was obsessed with space, and my son gets the same way too.
Yeah.
And I just discovered that you can actually do space camp, family space camp.
Yes.
And I never had the opportunity to go to space camp, but let's do that.
I cannot remember who it was, but you know what it was? Jessica Simpson. Her autobiography talked about how when she was a little girl wanted to be an astronaut, and she actually went to space camp.
That's her book's on my list.
It's phenomenal, by the way. You must. Someone told me about it. Actually, someone from the association, Abby Huffman, who's the president of our associate council, was telling me about it, and I downloaded it, and surprisingly was amazing. But Jessica Simpson wanted to be an astronaut and went to space camp.
I never going to go to space camp, and then realized I was terrible at math, and realizing that that's probably not in,
not in the future.
Yes.
Well, that is a very random fun fact. I love that. All right. Well, listen, I know it's Friday and you're ready for your weekend, so I think I have one more question for you, and I always end our interviews with this question, and it's, how do you think folks who have worked with you throughout your career would describe you as a leader?
That's a great question. I think, and I actually went ahead and asked a few people, but the common denominator is being very client-centric. To me, setting those right expectations and being a partner and making sure that the client is taken care of is probably my number one trait. And I care very much. I want to always do my best to do the right thing, and whether that's in walking away because it's not a fit for that client at the time, or just going out of my way to just send something, that sparks someone's interest that I knew that they would love, just to know that I'm thinking of them.
I love that. And that's something that is very near and dear to my heart. I think anyone who is in the business of providing a service, you have to have that mindset to be good at what you do, to genuinely care about taking care of other people and making their lives easier, whatever service you're providing, or, even whatever product you're selling. If you really genuinely approach people from the perspective of, I want to help you and I'm able to help you, and I genuinely am going to not stop until I help you, or stop as soon as I find out I can't help you. So I love that. Well, Becky, it has been a pleasure to get to know you. Thank you so much. I was really excited. Again, this is one of my very favorite things to do. I mean, I don't know which one I like better, sitting down with someone I've never really talked to before, like you, which is always extremely fun and exciting, or sitting down with the people that I think I know and finding out things that I never really knew about them. So really appreciate your involvement with the GCNKAAA, and thank you for participating in this initiative, the Weekend Under Spotlight. It's live right now, but it'll be on our Facebook page, and hope we can meet in person very, very soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, MJ. I'm very much appreciative of your time.
My pleasure.
I moved the Jessica Simpson book up on my queue, and I'll have to read that.
Yes, absolutely do. And hey, if you hear of any other good books or podcasts, since we're on the same wavelength, send me a note.
I sure will. Absolutely.
I haven't go find a book to read in so long because of this initiative. People just literally, I have a list so long and a queue so long, because every time someone tells me a good book, I go read it. I think someone might have mentioned Where the Crawdads Sing last year, and that's why I read it. I feel like that's how it happened, but I'm like, give me all the good stuff, and then I'm certain to be on top of what's trending in pop culture, right?
You'll have to share your list with me.
I will. I really do have a phenomenal list.
I would love.
I'm just getting into a little bit, and I would love to share this with you, because my good friend, and most people watching this probably know, Megan Lahan with PLK, just launched a podcast herself. last week. I think the second episode just aired yesterday. It's called Everyday Badass. And the concept is really just talking to everyday people and hearing their story. And, you know, she talks about in her opening how everyone has a story and they just want to be seen and heard. And I was so moved by this. And I've listened to the first episode so far and talked to her a little bit about it, but you should subscribe to that one, Everyday Badass.
I love it.
And listen to what she's got going on. And it's much more lighthearted than, you know, if you need to kind of palate cleanse after a couple of hours of Crime Junkie, this would be the perfect one to do it too.
I like a good uplifting empowerment.
It's very much so.
I will definitely subscribe to that for sure.
Good. Well, again, thank you so much, Becky. Great to meet you. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you get to go to the cabin with the fam this weekend.
Wish me luck on carving pumpkins.
Yes, have a good one. Well, thank you again, and we will talk soon.
All right. Thanks, MJ.
Bye-bye.